Hello, welcome to another uh shitty web comics clips and Vidya. It's been such a long time, even I forget. Oh look, there's me. Um even I forget how to play Borderlands 2 in VR, and I forget how to even do these segments. I had basically a show queued up with like the videos I wanted to play scheduled up. Um and then I think it's been a couple months and I just never did it. But I can, you know what? I can do it right now. Um, it got basically was getting more, stuff out of the way. I've sort of had less. We've generally had less time to actually record episodes. Um, we're doing okay in a good way though, so it's not very important or interesting. I'm thinking that one thing I did decide. I don't think it's been a couple months since I've done an episode. I think it's been 1 month. I don't know. It feels like it's been half a year. But I did decide that these episodes would be basically yeah, oh, okay, part of the main schedule from now on, which certainly is fine with me. Um, okay. Oh look, some more guys. Oh yeah, I turned the volume all the way down so I can't hear any game volume, which is um real lifesaver for me. Oops, that's grenades, right? Down on the right stick is reloading. I don't know why. That it's not too hard to figure out. It's just not intuitive. It doesn't really match with the other. How do I pick? Okay, just left trigger picks up. Okay, I think I'm getting used to this. It's like that episode of House where he committed suicide. Um, but he texted cutthroat bitch first, or CB as he called her, or Amber as her name actually was, and well, he stuck a knife in an outlet, but he texted her right before first. Up on the stick is for changing guns. How do I jump then? Oh, it's clicking one. Okay, clicking the left stick is for jumping, which is terrible binding for jumping, but whatever. Yeah, he paged her right before he did it, so that she would revive him because, as he said, he's like, if I died, you wouldn't get the job, right? Because that was that season 3. My brother has actually started watching House on his own because, as he put it, he's basically never really tried watching it himself. I watched every episode when it was coming out. I would pirate it. I would download it from Pirate Bay, just straight up at the actual Pirate Bay. Um, I've not been on Pirate Bay for years, ever since I tried and I got some kind of web page warning from my ISP, just loaded all of a sudden saying, like, oh, if you keep going to these sites, we're going to have to shut down your account. I was like, no, they shouldn't have any right to even know that I've gone there. Um, but I guess they do. Whatever. So yeah, I stopped using Pirate Bay, and I was like, I'll find some other way. I think maybe does it matter? I started paying a little more money for movies, um, but now everyone else has sort of found a way around that where you just go to a page or a site that has a page, something like that, where the page will then display a a sort of live stream, and they can't do anything about the page necessarily. They could try and shut it down, but oh, Iridium, great. Okay. Um, they could try and shut down the page, but the streams themselves can just go onto some other page. They could just, take all the pages and just shuffle them off onto some other domain name and be like, there, it's back up. So, it's hard to keep those down. And normally I wouldn't even want to talk about that in public, but I'm not. I'm talking about it on our on Subscribe Star exclusive video, which means, it might get 10 people watching it, which is fine with me. That's we genuinely, it's never been a joke. I don't know if people even think it's a joke or not, but we legitimately don't want a big fan base for our videos. Our videos are just the truth. If people aren't going to fucking pay attention to the truth, that's on them. And I don't want to be beholden to them either, because when you get a big fan base, then you have to be beholden to them. You have to curate every popular streamer of any kind curates their opinions for their audience, because they have to, because otherwise they lose the audience. It's the entire purpose. Going right back to the beginning. So, let's see. This has a scope. Okay. Hold down the left trigger, the pickup button to activate this goofy ass scope, which is at a lower frame rate and in 2 dimensions. Whatever. Once again, not a fan of this game, but it's playable. This is certainly playable, although I'm probably going to be wandering because I'm really just going around in circles. I'm going to be going around this signpost here being like, so what am I talking about? This is kind of a decent game to do that, especially since I hacked my save and just gave myself the most kitted out bullshit weapons and fucking ridiculous amounts of health and shields and all that other crap. Fine with me. Playing this game legit, especially when this game has no online. There's no reason to play by this game's rules. It's not like this game deserves it. It's not like this game deserves respect. This game was never that good. In fact, the most fun I've ever had playing this game is like this. I've actually been in a comfy way, not in in a way where it's like, oh, look at the loot and stuff. It's like, okay, what's that? A shitty shield. Does it really have to drop that many? I would prefer if it just dropped less items. It's kind of like, I think they expected you to feel drip fed by the dopamine of just finding junk items all over the place that you sell for, tiny amounts of money. Let's see, how do I fucking even, okay, sell. This, and then all these. There should be some kind of automatic sell for junk items like this. I don't know why I remember that. XP gain for combat. I don't really need that, do that. I don't have Psycho, Gunzerker, reload speed down. Why would I want that? Oh, okay, yeah. There. These things are actually good things. Just gotta keep them. Okay, how do I cancel? Okay, I think I'm ready. I wanted to start with a goofy, the front-loading video tonight. Was for tonight. It's 8 in the morning right now. 9:34 in the morning. Okay. This is the accurate clock and the accurate date. So it's like you can figure out when I actually recorded this by looking at the screen when I'm looking at this. Anyways, yum. Oh yeah, there was a funny front-loading thing, and after waiting so long, I'm kind of shocked it's still up, and we'll just get into it right now, because I want to make these videos even shorter now since they're part of the official schedule. So here, let's just start playing it. Yeah. Joya.
Lord of mercy. What's up?
Right.
It's your girl Brianka J. This is.
That's how quickly you hear that beep noise. That's from the video.
Book talk. Thank you guys for coming yet again to talk about books with me, talk about literature with me. You know I love it. You guys are like my little virtual family, and with COVID-19, we all could use a little more community, a little more support. So if you enjoy books and you like talking about books or listening about books, go ahead and subscribe and join our small family, our small community.
There was another one. Already she sounds like she's trying to create a parasocial relationship. And this video is from like this year. So when she's talking about fucking COVID-19. It's like you're a few years late on anyone caring about that.
And let's grow together and work through these things together. Without further ado, today's video is about the birth of tragedy.
Today, Junior.
So these are the births of the plays that Shakespeare wrote, just that tragic instance. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because I just wanted to pull from like all the things I've had the joy of learning in a classroom with the professor, with the notes. And I know that right now there's going to be so many aspiring writers, literature students, book lovers who are going to be missing some of those key aspects of university and classes and stuff. So I was hoping maybe if I were to
I wouldn't say I'm missing it.
My little 2 cents in, everybody or somebody could just feel a little more prepared. So the birth of tragedy. So it is said to be begun by Friedrich Nietzsche in 1871.
Slay Queen.
So it says, the poet's work is to figure out his dreams, mark them down. All poetic works are the interpretation of dreams. So that was one of Friedrich Nietzsche's first theories, that all poetic works are coming from our place of dreams, coming from our place of imagination and creation.
Like twice a minute.
He says that art is dependent on the duality of Apollonian, also known as our visual arts, and Dionysian, our non-visual arts, and the constant friction and provocation leads to more powerful offspring. So pair Apollonian with Dionysian, bam, you get the birth of tragedy. So then it says, what is art? It's subjective self-expression, right? Subjective self-expression, meaning what I believe is art may be trash to you. What you may believe is art may be trash to the next person, but it's simply based on self-expression. Are you releasing a part of yourself? You know what I'm saying? Are you sharing a part of yourself with the world?
Perfect.
Then therefore it is art.
Compliment to what she
these
said.
trends come together in tragedy, the golden age of Greek life and development as a thinker, and then the outer edges of our human experiences. So he said 3 things come together for tragedy. There's the golden age, right? That time that things were happening in Greece. The development of the thinker, right? When we start.
It will never end. It's just going to keep her smoke detectors just chirping through the whole thing. This is, I think, 10 or 11 minutes. I'm just going to play through the whole thing.
Creating critical thinking ideas or start challenging the status quo. And then lastly, the outer edges of our human experience, the less talked about aspects of what it is to be human and those emotional planes that come from that, right? So, this is what he says,
what is it to be human? Does it mean being able to detect a smoke detector when it has a low battery? I don't know. Just
tragedy together. Hopefully, you're still with me. Hopefully.
Nope. I'm not. How do you record knowing that's in there?
Is it good? How's the lighting? Okay.
Oh, she's concerned about the lighting. That's
in 1872, Nietzsche was 28 years old, right? And he said it was greatly criticized and received mixed views. However, is now considered a great thinker and characterizes his development as a thinker. So, though when he started coming up with this stuff, people were like, shut your ass up, you don't know. Over time, he became the expert in these ideas, just so you know. But, okay, so it says progression of art is bound in the duality of the Apollonian, the physical, and the Dionysian. So what is Apollonian versus Dionysian? What is that? So Apollo, it comes from the Greek god Apollo. That's where Apollonian comes from. And it is about the Greek mind from a German perspective, at least. And it says it is the god of measure and restraint. Is who Apollo was.
The comments on this video, by the way, are just non-stop. People make it. Somebody time-stamped all of the chirps and then just jokes about fucking probably not only smoke detector chirps, making fun of black people, and so on, but also then on top of that is just probably per capita jokes. I mean, just anything else that you can imagine making fun of her. And, what? Am I getting hit? Oh, I am. I actually was. These stupid birds. They're birds? They're kind of some kind of big bird. Oh, well, not anymore. Anyways. Oh, there's a quest here, I think. Yay. Happy pig. But she, from what I remember, she closed the comments after that. She was not happy about all the comments. Decline, accept. Yes. Pick up dynamite. Is there dynamite? Whatever. But whatever the characters are saying, that this doesn't. It was funny. I didn't fucking do anything to the game. I didn't mod it enough where it is cutting off the HUD like this. This is just how the game is. So they didn't even release it that much more correctly, or which is, not my problem, not my fault. Let's get through this though.
He was the god of the land of dreams. He is a man, is healed and helped in his dreams.
Yeah, she's just reading this from like the wiki or something.
Prophecy, truth, reason, calm, rationale. All of those fall on the Apollonian side of art.
She's just reading lecture notes at best. That's the best case scenario.
Art. The Dionysius side is those blurred boundaries, that drunkenness. Primordial unity, a state beyond social barriers and narrow thinking, right? Music, dance, chaos, emotion, passion. Each of these fall on the Dionysian side of our lifestyle, right? So the Apollonian style and the Dionysian style, and the idea is that human have to bridge these two things in a complex manner to be like.
Kind of maddening and mind-boggling that she's not missing a beat when those go off, which reminds me, of course, of the It's Always Sunny episode where they are hearing the beeps and they don't know where it's coming from, but it's driving them insane. It's driving them insane because they actually notice them. As opposed to this chick where you can tell it's beeping all the time. Not just when she's recording. She didn't just start recording, it started beeping, and she's like, oh, I guess I'll roll with it. It's been beeping all the time for her, constantly, no exceptions, all day, probably for weeks. And instead of her going completely batshit insane like Dennis Reynolds from It's Always Sunny, she just she's completely just isn't even noticing it. It's like it's not even happening. It's great because in the Always Sunny episode, they're freaking out. There's like, how do you not hear that? And Dennis is just screaming, just angrily, fucking news flash, asshole, I've been hearing it all day. Just fucking enraged, as Dennis Reynolds usually is. But it's especially the smoke detector chirp drove him insane. This girl, on the other hand, she's really holding it together, I guess you could say, because she's clearly not even noticing it. It's not even an issue of having gotten used to it, because you can get used to a lot of things, but the smoke detector chirp is designed to not be gotten used to. But they tested it with people clearly who are smart enough to fucking notice it. Okay, here's a thing coming up.
Like a rash, what? It's almost like that idea, like
this background music is great.
All work and no play makes such and such a dull boy, right? So all such Apollo is boring, all Dionysian is chaotic. You need to kind of bridge the two to make a solid being, right? But they said the Greek culture was defined by
all chirp and no battery makes Jack a crazy boy.
These two gods. And people are a mix of these two ideologies. So what happens then is that tragedy achieves...
Another thing, of course, that it basically, there are so many things that shouldn't even need to be mentioned, but I think it's sad that for some reason they always need to be I think it's nice to hear them mentioned too. But the idea that this dolt, really, I'm sure she's nice, but this dummy is discussing, or going to discuss Nietzsche, like from an Nietzsche having such an innate understanding of um the of European mythology and lore and terminology and discussion and insight and debate and all this shit. And here comes this fucking black chick who most likely, it's funny because you almost expect, it's almost like a 50-50 chance that she would be like, yeah, we're learning about these old white men talking about old white European, just missing the point that yes, Europe kind of is the most important place for culture historically for the past 1,000 years. If you go back before that, I'm sure people would say, well, the Middle East, the old empires. It's like, yeah, that was 1,000 years ago. What since then could really compare? Where's the Nietzsche of any other region, any other continent? She actually, that's the interesting thing though, and I kind of want to give her credit, is that she's talking about it like it's worth thinking about, worth learning about. And whereas so many people historically, yeah, I wanted to see, I can throw some kind of flaming vampire grenade, right? Oh, and it worked. Well, it's like insta-killing these guys. It's supposed to bring back health to me, but I don't even need it. But yeah, she kind of she is not one of those resentful creeps, as Colin Quinn would call. Well, as he called Jim Norton, but one of those people who's just resentful of the idea that you would learn anything about Europeans from the 1800s or 1900s at all, or any era in the past 300 or 400 years of Europe. The university has been so full of people these days who are angry and resentful, really, at the fact that Europe achieved anything of worth and of significance and of interest in a way that's so completely undeniable that their efforts to replace European knowledge and information and historical study has only resulted in like embarrassing fiction like Wakanda, to the extent that anyone really took the whole Wakanda shit seriously, which I would like to think that nobody really did, that was all just a meme, but I don't think it was a meme. In the end, it was most likely just really some really dumb people. And again, this chick might be nice, and I do want to give her credit for seemingly being interested. Not unless she says something before this video is over, but doing this and having the smoke detector chirp go off the entire time, that is an indicator that you don't know what you're doing. Just straight in life, it's just a thing about life. Very sad, very unfortunate. Not for me though. It's also kind of a nature. It's the nature of the big picture that we're constantly talking about how people just sort of constantly worship the effect of status worship. One of the results really is stuff like this, where people the way that this chick and black people, or PlayStation owners, if you will, don't notice smoke detector chirps, is the same way that, fans of YouTubers, of these fake culture war YouTubers, don't notice that they, these supposedly totally based anti-woke people are woke and very cringe, in fact. The fact that years pass and there are thousands, seemingly, of people who just who watch these streamers every day. It was something funny that Tilo K, the guy who did he does the tomboy bot art. I'm assuming it's a guy. Pretty sure. But also did Princess High Ground fan art and stuff that I put in the book. Okay, should be able to. They want me to run. Oh, activate, transmit. Oh, here it is. But he mentioned on Twitter, like yesterday or the day before, that he was saying something about how a lot of the culture war people are really just whining and bickering, and it's just a lot of back and forth that amounts to absolutely nothing, and that's the fact, is that a lot of people are just realizing that and noticing that. Kill freezing psychopaths. Oh, okay. They're freezing. Oh, they're freezing now because I destroyed their furnaces. Okay. Wow, that almost looks cool, but it's a white, so who cares? White. Challenge complete. Yeah, whatever. I don't even need the badass ranks anymore because I'm so overpowered. The guns I have and then the fucking health. I gave myself health and then I gave myself a bunch of levels and then I had free golden keys, so didn't really need to do anything else. Here, let's try and play through.
Day in its greatest height because of the merging of the Apollonian and Dionysian art. They have to be in perfect opposition. So these two things have to be in perfect opposition. Nietzsche argued that Greek culture went...
Nietzsche.
Sorry. So Nietzsche argues that Greek culture went away when they tried to forget about Dionysius. It says it doesn't work that way. Socrates controls and understands everything, which is deeply dangerous, and we need to accept the Dionysian side of us as well as the Apollonian side. Again, all work, no play makes shit boring. Okay? I appreciate all the professionalism from 9 to 5, and then from 5 to 9, I like a little happy hour. Hey. That's all he's saying. You got to put it on both sides.
Do you?
So he says that argue that the Greeks. So he argued that the reason the Greeks are able to create such beautiful art is because of their understanding of the darkness in life. If you don't understand the darker side of life, your art is boring. You're writing textbooks. You're writing what the fuck are you writing? Elements of style, right? Boring as fuck. Good, important if you're a writer. Don't underestimate a good style book, but also you can't really...
Is that her point, or is that just something that was said in the lecture she agreed with? I think it's a good point. It's probably the professor.
Just read it for joy, can you?
Instructor,
you know?
or whatever.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. All right, so he says...
It's beeping more often, isn't it?
The Greek art saw a decline because the Dionysian side is trying to be replaced by rationale. Euripides and Socrates wanted to think everything through. I am, therefore I think, da-da-da-da. And he was like, you are making things boring. Because everything doesn't have to be categorized and placed and organized in a very simplistic box. That's boring.
Is this her personal criticism of Socrates? I so wish if she could go up against Socrates, the whole debate would end with Socrates just immediately starting off saying, what is that beeping noise?
And so he pretty much is saying like that is what drove down that decline. People's need to understand and categorize and break everything down to its simplest parts. Like you have to embrace your dark side. You do, or you're born.
Simplest parts.
Eventually it comes to art, at least. So, he paints Socrates as a villain. He says his over-rationale of reason and all surprise and mystery are removed from the theater. He says, this way is boring as hell, and I can predict everything.
Get him. Yeah,
then he says science is the antithesis of culture. Reason and rationale kill an art form and in a culture.
That's true.
For example, he felt like Buddha killed India. He felt like Rousseau and Voltaire ruined the Enlightenment age. He felt like Confucius kind of destroyed the culture of Asia. And then he says, once the Socratic man takes stage, art becomes sterilized. He says science is a destructive force because of the analytic process. The Socratic man is antithesis of art over analytic viewpoints, kills art and culture. And so, that's pretty much his argument. And
that's his argument. What do you think about? What are your thoughts about that?
Dionysian versus Apollonian, and you have to bridge the two in order to have an art form. And that is the birth of tragedy based on Friedrich Nietzsche. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you learned a little more about Apollo and Dionysus and those two.
Makes it more confusing, I think.
Two schools of thought that need to come together to bridge in order to make great tragedies. So I want to challenge you guys now to make the next Hamlet, because I will be definitely looking forward to reading it and studying it. And so go forth and be great. Love and light, guys. Bye-bye.
She's got a catchphrase, too. Forced catchphrase. It's always good. Or if you can talk about Nietzsche. Or Nietzsche. That was just as delightful and wonderful. The way that this
people are asking
background
what
music
I'm drinking.
is interrupted by beeps.
Drinking, guys.
Here again, by the way, these are old. I think these are from before the arrest. So a lot of stuff to cover. I'm trying to remember, how the fuck do I look at the map in this game? I don't remember. It's not the trigger here. It's not the trigger here. No. It's not A button there. That is just... Oh, yeah, wait. No, it's... I think it's... No, wait. Fuck. It was A and... A in them? Or... No. I had to hold something in B. It's the menu button. It's like the grip in B. No, it's not that. Fuck. Nice game, Blizzard. I mean, fucking Gearbox. Even worse. How much worse? You can get worse than Blizzard? Holy shit.
It's just liquor. That's all it is. It's just a giant mug of liquor. It's not like I have a mandatory fucking drug test going on all the time. It's probably just me sneaking liquor.
This might be. It's funny. I think this is after the arrest. Even though I have a bunch of other clips from, I think, before the arrest, they're a holding pattern to be put into the main show thing. But here, I'll play just play this.
Between liquor, I'm probably just eating heroin or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't comply with my drug tests. Dumb motherfuckers.
Yes, he is so proud of how he thinks everyone wants us wrong, but he was supposed to be getting piss tests for alcohol. So he's admitting that he's still drinking. He's just sneaking liquor.
Please tell me more. Tell me more about how much I'm cheating on my drug tests.
Doesn't matter. You lost. Hey, Nick,
Haven King says, how do you know it's working
again
without testing it by using drugs?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking for quests. That's right.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. It's amazing. But remember, everybody online knows everything that's going on at all times, and I'm obviously lying about everything.
More than you do.
That was sarcastic for the transcript.
Mission.
But yeah. Yes. Now, as I stated, ever since we were ordered to comply with drug tests, and we were ordered to have no substances, including alcohol. We have been completely off of them. That was, I believe, June 7th. The order was from the bench, and I think that order went into play. I think the written order came down like June 9th. But shocker, when the county tells you what you need to do, you do it. But everybody's very critical about what I did or didn't do before the county told me what to do.
You did fail.
Let me give you a little
failed
piece of
at doing
free
something
advice.
there.
If
But
the county
don't
or
need
the
your
government
advice,
is
Nick.
involved in some sort of legal action against you, and you run to the government telling them all the things you're going to do to fix your problems, they're just writing it down with smiles on their faces and dicks as hard as fucking diamond. They love for you to say that. And if you have a lawyer who's actually like, by the way, just do everything they say. In fact, preemptively do whatever you think.
Nick thinks that the legal system and the local government really has it out for him. Nick, you're really missing the boat. Everyone is thrilled to watch you fail because nobody's going to fail harder than you. Nobody's going to be more vindicated by this than me, by the way. Like, I could have been doing this years ago. The thing is that it wasn't fun years ago because I was one of the only people in all of existence to be right about this. And I do mean only one of the only people because there were still a bunch of other people. My brother, of course, Vicky and DA, and I knew a few other people who had sort of been behind the scenes, but none of the stuff had to be, you didn't have to be behind the scenes to know any of this. I wasn't really behind the scenes. I was aware of some stuff that was going on, but that was private. It was only because people didn't want to talk about it in public. Anyways, whatever though, the validation of this is basically by listening to
they want you to do. Please seek different
desperate.
counsel. Please do that.
Nick at his most desperate.
Please do that. I've seen a lot of internet commentary talking about things that I should or shouldn't do, and it is absolutely a big.
Well, anyone who said anything is definitely more right than you were because Nick absolutely blew it. The whole Frank's hearing thing, which I don't even have clips about that queued up because I figure by the time I get through all the videos that I have in the queue, I'm going to just want to quit and not do this anymore. I'll be like, you know what? All of this already has proven my point. Now I'm just kind of listening to clips just to enjoy them to myself and play some video games. I've been just doing a lot of that. That's another reason why I haven't been doing a lot of videos or streams is I've just been generally enjoying myself and relaxing and taking like an entire year's worth of victory laps. And it's kind of funny to watch everyone else try to take credit for basically what none of them had the balls to ever do, but I did in front of them, and they got angry about it. Now all of them, every single person currently who is in any way critical of Nick Rekieta is repeating what I've been saying about him verbatim, going back many years. When they said it was wrong to say these things, now all of them are saying these exact things that I said that they said was wrong. So again, it's that also on its own, even more validating, which is, that's pretty much all I need too. And there's not a single human soul, or human or inhuman or anything, could ever take that away or can ever do anything about that. They except to get mad about how I am right, and they can't do anything about how I'm right. They don't want me to be right, just as how they didn't want me to be right about Rekieta when they were defending him or taking his side. Even people like Andy Worski, who was completely chugging Nick Rekieta's piss for years and years after Nick Rekieta had been, lying, slandering, helping to deplatform and censor other people, us included. Oh, shit. I almost felt like I got stuck in the rocks. Nice game, Gearbox. Gear piece of shit. More like Gear piece of shit. Is this where I am or where I... Oh, wait. Okay, whatever. I have to go to do an arena. Great.
Abysmal legal advice. And it's funny because they act
Yeah,
again. They act like they know the situation, but please remember,
the thing is that Nick Rekieta's eternal cope, the only cope he has left, it's the same cope that everyone else has left, is they act like they know better because it's something that happened to them. So they can lie about it and act like, well, you wouldn't know. I know the truth of the situation, which is what every mentally ill pathological liar has ever said and demanded that everyone else believe. There are people right now who are critical of Nick Rekieta, former friends of Nick Rekieta's, who still are mentally ill pathological liars, who realized that the Rekieta stuff is backfiring. Their support of Rekieta is now backfiring on them, and people started actually noticing that their child abusers start saying, hey, are you a child abuser? You're supporting Rekieta, who's a child abuser. That must mean you are like a child abuser too. And the fact is, that made them change their opinions. And most importantly, that doesn't mean that they're not child abusers anymore, or that they wouldn't be. It just means that they're now hiding, and are you going to be stupid enough to let them hide? To essentially, more especially, let them fool you and play you for a fucking stupid moron, idiot, dupe, rube, sucker. Which most people will. Most people right now are in fact angry at the idea that somebody who supported Nick Rekieta is now criticizing Nick Rekieta and wouldn't get the benefit of the doubt over that. People are like, oh, how could you say something about this guy? And it's like, because he supported Nick Rekieta and Nick Rekieta supported him when both of them had been caught lying for no reason, not even for gain. They were caught lying for internet sympathy. They wanted people to feel sorry for them on the internet, so that they would get money. And that is the lowest thing anyone can do. And again, this is very important. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people right now are supporting them. You possibly, it's not likely. If you're actually listening to us, you're not likely to be the kind of person to do that. But there are people who are subscribed to our channel, our main regular YouTube channel, who are like that. Some of them have unsubscribed now, of course, because they were traumatized by us once again being correct. The same way we were always correct about Rekieta, we're correct about other people that they don't want us to say, to be correct about, to notice. We criticize other people who are just the same as Rekieta, and they're like, no, I don't want that to be true, and they can't do anything about it. So they're just like, you know what? I thought you guys... And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what people said to us when we were right about Rekieta. Down to the exact words people were saying back then, years ago, when we were straight up dead on right about Nick Rekieta and criticizing him, not even criticizing him, just noticing his behavior, just dead, flat noticing. Regular, plain old garden variety, having eyeballs, showing off, having show-offs with the eyes, noticing things, and observing them. People were furious and like, I used to have respect for you guys. And it's like, I don't want your respect then if you're going to support a cokehead child abuser, pathological liar, who openly, gleefully admits to lying about anything, but especially about us, and admitting that people won't believe us because we're not as popular as him. Nick Rekieta was just saying that out in the open. And people like Andy Worski took Rekieta's side when Rekieta was like, yeah, people won't believe you because but you know what? Null also, I don't want to just pin everything on Andy Worski. That's just the first name that's popping up. But like Medicare, Null, all of these people, fucking everyone in Comicsgate, even Sean, the fucking lawyer guy who, Ricada now just yells at and is angry at. Even he took Ricada's side in that case, in that situation, based on Ricada admitting that he was just more popular than us, therefore he could lie about us openly, and still does. And the people who now criticize Ricada, who were friends with him, they also do. And we've caught them, and we've shown it. We've shown the receipts. We've already gone over them. I'm just realizing, do I actually have to be in this area? It led me here, and I'm like, I have to be here, right? No, apparently not. Why is again, every time I fucking start a thing, I forget to take my friend. Here though, let's see if we can get through this.
You've made a bunch of assumptions about what the facts are rather than knowing the facts. If you just
see again, assumptions,
full fucking hightail it to the government and tell them, I'm going to do this.
That was also something he said about us. Or, about the stuff that we were correct about. Well, he didn't even, actually, no, he didn't say that. Because one of the first things, okay, looks like I do go here, at least. One of the first things, though, where he really had to go into, spin into damage control was, ladder. Was, that, Ricada was basically, protecting Ethan Van Sciver. All I did was point that out, which it was true. Any moron could have noticed that. Notice, though, nobody on Kiwi Farms noticed that. They still haven't really caught on because they've every single time we've proven and are constantly proven correct about is that Kiwi Farms is always years and years behind us. When really, again, we don't have like hidden lore or anything. It's just really blatant, out in the open, public stuff. They admit it. They're not fucking confessing it. They're bragging. And Kiwi Farms is perpetually in the behind, in the dust, just confused and not aware of what's been going on this whole time. On completely regular, plain information too. It's stuff that they've even every once in a while, when people would screenshot or mention like, oh, this got mentioned on Kiwi Farms or whatever, some people would actually notice. They would be like, why does Nick Ricada hang out with this guy? Why does Nick Ricada support this? And I'm talking about going back years. And it's like, yeah, because they're friends. They protect each other. They're fucking And people are so delusional. Some of them would be like, I don't know if why does Nick know this guy? Why is he protecting him? He must not really like him, right? It's sort of like how some of the dumbest people in Gamergate were the people who were somehow convinced that when Anita Sarkeesian was going to be on with the Colbert report, that Colbert was going to go after him for sure. Absolutely. No doubt about it. And then he didn't. He completely used her as part of the fodder to help make her point and support her. And they, all of these Gamergate people are like, why is he doing that? Did he not know? It's like, no, you clearly don't know that they were on the same side the whole time. There's, nothing to miss out on there. But that's what Kiwi Farms is like. It's like Kiwi Farms is like the most cucked version of Gamergate, but in today's time, where there's no reason for them to still be that clueless. It's like the people in Gamergate who would still support Milo right now. That's what Kiwi Farms is like. And there are some people, we know that there are some people. I took the pizza. There are some people who on Kiwi Farms who do know better. Well, we know, a couple of them. There's some on our Discord. There's some people who, I like a couple of those guys we did streams with and that kind of stuff. The thing is, I think a lot of them just sort of moved on from Kiwi Farms. Like, it's sort of like 4chan, where ultimately you realize it's, they're fucking engaging with them for anything other than goofing on them is the joke's more on you at that point. I don't even know what are these things. Okay, well, that's ammo, but it should just let me pick. It should just vacuum up the ammo automatically. I know if I hold down the left trigger, it generally will, but shouldn't even have to do that. No clue where I'm going now. Let's just
this and this and this. They're like, why?
3 minutes long.
Why would you do that? It's like if a cop pulls you over for some reason. You know why I pulled you over? Well, I'm drunk driving and speeding, but I'm going to go right to rehab. Actually, your taillight was out, but thanks. So anyway,
sure he was going to win that Frank's motion thing. And
as stated, been fully compliant and complicit with the county with once they told us what to do.
Oh, here's a grenade from an enemy. Neat. Ricada will keep. I hope. I really hope Ricada. My greatest fear about all of this is that Ricada was going to have his redemption arc where he was going to be like, you know what, I'm cleaning up. I'm gonna stop drinking, and he would do the fake humility play. Because I know if he did that, all of those people would welcome him right back in. Now, if he made amends with Null would take him right back. Medicare, I would almost prefer that like Null and Medicare and all these guys, and Warski, and then PPP at gunpoint, of course, would all be like, you know what, Ricada, he made some mistakes, but he's admitting them now. And that's it. That's all it would take for anyone. Is just Ricada pretending to be making good on realizing his mistakes and doing rehab. Instead, he's acting like it's a government conspiracy to force him to go to rehab, to be surrounded with a bunch of other people who are the real addicts. That I am so glad that Ricada is tripling down on that shit. And I hope he never stops. I hope he never does the fake humility shit. Here, back to it. Because this is still
we were happy to comply. It's amazing.
He was happy to comply. He certainly sounds happy to comply. He does nothing but complain about it, about how he has to pay to take the piss tests, which I wish they would make him pay more to do them, because that fucking, that gets way under his skin. The same, nothing gets more under skin than me, of course, but having to pay to take piss tests for alcohol, the one thing he was sure, like, he used to gloat. In fact, I think that's in a previous episode of him gloating about how, you haven't even seen me drunk yet. It's like, well, you know what? I guess we have now. And it's funny also is that Aaron guy is just telling more and more about Ricada being on cocaine. Here's the thing. We know Ricada is on cocaine. He probably still right now. He's doing Molly, he's doing ketamine, he's doing other drugs, and he will tell you, the way that addicts rationalize shit like this, hopeless addicts who will never come back, I certainly hope never come back, and most likely never will, and good. Those addicts who never come back, the one thing they have in common is they always say, well, I'm not a meth head, I don't do meth. So they do everything but meth, and then they rationalize it to themselves. They make it so that it's okay to do anything, to be a cokehead, as long as they're not doing meth. So that's what's been happening already. That's what's going to keep happening. And that's what I'm hoping Nick never stops doubling down on. But if he does, it's only because he was smart enough to just shut up about it, which he isn't. The way that Sean guy keeps insisting that Rekieta is actually pretty smart is actually dumb of him. But it's dumb in the same way that people who are friends with Nick Rekieta are dumb. So it's not really anything, out of the ordinary, especially for our situation. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like Doug Stanhope said, I'll call you stupid for not knowing something I only just found out 2 minutes ago. But that's not the situation with us. Here's the situation that makes us justified in me saying all of this, is that for years, Nick Rekieta was directly involved with several people, Comicsgate and, all the Yellow Umbrella guys and the Leech Tubers, who all of them knew. The other Leech Tubers, the Lugan Tubers, whatever, these fake culture war, Star Wars YouTubers who don't ever have anything to say. They don't actually review anything. Or even the ones who do review stuff, like even Mahler is complicit. All of them are complicit because all of them knew. There's not a single fucking reason for any of them to not know. Because they would keep bringing people on who were directly responsible for censoring us. That's the only example that needs to be brought up. The only people who need to be censored for any of this to be true is us. And the fact is, they did. I fucking burned down our entire YouTube channel just to prove, to show to the world, so we could point and say, here, they censor people. There you go. What are you going to do about it? We did our part. What are you going to do? And the people like Nerdrotic, Mahler, Heel's Babyface, Rekieta, Sean, Null, Medicare, Worski, fucking Ethan, all of these people. Is my inventory full? Oh, full. Yeah, okay. All of these people, and like, hundreds more. All of them just stood by and did nothing about it. They didn't. The funny thing is, one of the only people who gave even a fake, tacit, sort of damage control response was Rekieta, and Rekieta dragged Ethan on because Ethan was directly responsible. Also, Ethan was the guy who paid Liam Gray to have our channel flagged down. And Ethan was gloating about that at first until Kiwi Farms actually did one of the few things that Kiwi Farms is almost completely incapable of doing, where they actually held a lolcow accountable for their behavior. A popular lolcow, though. When a lolcow is popular, Kiwi Farm sucks their dick. That's been proven already, so that's not something that I think. That's something that is. That's something that has already been verified and without any possibility. You would have to be a mentally ill, pathological liar to try to claim otherwise. Which, there are a lot on Kiwi Farms, and it's one of the reasons why we have every right to look down on Kiwi Farms. But one of the other main reasons is all of these other e-celebs who just sat around and watched as their friends were directly, or they don't even have to be friends, just other streamers who they then bring on. But those streamers, all of them were more than happy to slander and lie and get us deplatformed, to the point where, again, fucking Yellow Umbrella was falsely claiming that he had evidence that I doxed Sweetcast, and then he falsely claimed that that we sent death threats to his children, and just one thing after another. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, the evidence proved that he was lying and that we didn't do any of that, of course. And the evidence was just our videos that he was claiming was the evidence. The stuff he claimed was the evidence that we didn't do any of that shit. And we were like, here, and everyone, feel free, knock yourselves out. Go look at the at what he says is the proof. Here it is. It's on our channel. And nobody would talk about it or admit to it. They would just repeat the lie. And all of those people who repeated the lie, all of them still get support by all of these other YouTubers, including the ones who everyone loves to pretend is innocent. And fucking Eric July, by the way, is right there next to them because all of those people are promoting Eric July because they work for the same company. A lot of them work for the Blaze. The Quartering is another person. Again, I keep forgetting him because he's not memorable. But yeah, there's just a bunch of them. A bunch of them work for the Blaze, and then the ones who don't are still complicit. Fucking Alex Stein is another one too. All of them have had every opportunity to not even take a risk, but to just say, hey, this is, this guy lied, but and we shouldn't be complicit in people lying, even if we think, especially most importantly, this is actually the most important thing, is that they lied specifically with this goal of claiming somehow that we were part of the woke mob or the SJWs, even though all of the evidence proved that we're not. But that is the narrative. That's always been their narrative. That's always been the way that they function, is that they always have to say, this person who said something that I want to monetize for my YouTube channel, they are a leftist. They are an SJW. And it's like, we've been, actually critical, legitimately, for real, of the SJWs, the Jews, if you will. For years before any of you started pretending to be us. Oh, I discovered a thing, vault symbols. All right. And the thing is, that doesn't matter. Lying about us being SJWs, any moron can just fucking look at any of the stuff we do and realize that they're lying. The thing is, what the real issue is, that reveals that their whole culture war has been a complete hoax since the beginning. Well, none of these are going to be better than these cheat weapons I have. So that is the biggest of the big pictures. Oh shit. Is that our existence reveals that all of these other people are complete frauds. And I mean every single one of them. Because any single one of them could stand up and be like, here, I'm against censoring and deplatforming. And that means even the shitty webcomics guys. Because if any of them had even stuck up for us, who did stick up for us is fucking Tim and Mark. Tim and Mark stuck up for us. They're stuck up, I guess you could say. But Tim and Mark supported us. I guess that's a better way to put it. They supported us because they're the actual real thing. They're the real version of what all these dumb gay YouTubers with their shitty comic books that they either can't get out or they put out because they're fucking astroturfed. But all of them just pretend to. In fact, they want some of that legitimacy. Now some of them, in fact, several of them. We did videos about this already, where several of them are now crawling back to Tim and Mark, or they're not even crawling back. They're crawling to Tim and Mark, trying to be like, hey, we're just like you, Tim and Mark, but they're not. fucking Eric July will never be anything like Tim and Mark, because Tim and Mark worked their way up from the bottom with nothing, with a slander campaign against them. They didn't get Fox News. They didn't have Fox News and several other like gay boomer news outlets promoting them sight unseen without a single. Am I supposed to do something? Oh, install AI code. Okay. Without a single book being finished. Tim and Mark had finished books before Common America even existed. They had already finished multiple books. Oh, well. Oh, I got an achievement. Gee, whatever. But yeah, that's the thing, is that Eric July didn't pay his dues, and he still hasn't. In fact, fucking having establishment media promote you before you've ever made something proves that it's astroturfed and it's fake. And when that happens, it becomes impossible to pay your dues, because you're now creating, you're working off of a career based off of a hoax. And on top of that, who is he having on? The people who are mentally ill, pathological liars. Right now, there are child abusers who fucking Nerdrotic and Eric July are more than happy to be friends with, and they know. It's not some kind of weird thing where they're not aware. Trust me, if I know about it, anyone has to know about it. That means it's right out there and right in front of everyone. It's impossible to not see it. Which also means that if you refuse to point it out, it also means you're a liar. Oh, gee. No achievement for that. Huh. And, you know, being disingenuous is kind of the worst thing you can be, aside from, of course, a hypocrite. That maybe is a second, that's in second place, a distant second. Shit. Anyways, here, this should have been finished by now.
Out on the streets were hot, man.
Oh yeah, wait, it did finish.
Oh man, fucking Brits were watching. Man. They were waiting. I'm not gonna be a Tonka saw type motherfucker. And if I get beat, I get beat. You know, I'm not going to. But we'll see if it happens. They're waiting for me to drop. And I did.
Ralph's another good example of what I was just talking about.
I'm confident in the ring as a pin with his wings flapping his wings. I think I'll pay a visit to gym. Keem said I ain't made for this, but I ain't lifting a weight till pay pigs. Pay for it. Spend a paycheck on makers and painkillers for my pigs. Every time I get a plane mate jealous. Dude, what kind of world is it where two little girls can lay out the underage date rapist? You think you'll get away with it? And I will swear, spit and pray, you get AIDS from it. Yeah, keep an eye out. These Portuguese racists make my eyes looking at two different places. Damn, my face is clearly aware what a 5-star base is. Don't ask what my weight is, because you would think by the way that my face hit the pavement. I was weightless when a rage pick comes back like a sadist. Knock the fuck out and repeat and replay it. Shots to the face, popped in my anus. Drop harder than the latest. Gun playlist. Shout out to my ladies, my unwanted babies with AIDS. Let's take it back to the 80s. These bitches who hate me, you may remember to take the shot for the rabies. Okay. Next time that a motherfucker steps to me to give a rage pick, a hysterectomy for getting stomped on the curb like a re-release. I won't cry for no police. And next time that a motherfucker screams and I'm quivering like a bitch on my goddamn knees. Somebody please. And next time believe I won't cry for no police. Yeah, I was assaulted by a grip bong from the witness of consensual Burger King fun for being a public figure. That's why I picked on either that or for my microscope picked on. But the clips is out there and the top pick's done. Ain't got no competition, no contest, son. This bitch is gonna have me paying child support for the rest of my life. all 6 months. So TikTok doesn't sound like the clock. TikTok,
He
how much
lived longer
time
than
do you
6
figure
months.
we got before we get a video released on TikTok with my tongue wrapped around the vicious Vickers cock? Jarbo's probably gonna put out a hit song about how I took a shit in my fucking pink dog. Second, I saw him conk with his friend King Kong. Diabetic socks were perfect to bring along. Now he's playing basketball with my skull. Yo, I look so masterful as I fall. Damn it, Masterson dog, answer the call. You broke now, bitch. Your hands are your balls. Plus the whole fucking farm's up in arms. Did he suck Fuentes' ball sack or not? Is he just a relentless force that cannot stop riding the damn horse with no car? Next time that a motherfucker steps to me to give a rage pig a hysterectomy for getting stopped on the curb like a re-release, I won't cry for no poke police. And next time that a motherfucker screams and I'm quivering like a bitch on my goddamn knees, somebody please. But the next time, believe I won't cry for no poke police, bitch. I'm not gonna be a Tonkasaw type motherfucker. I'll show up. It's much
He'll
more
show up.
cowardly to not show up. Jesus Christ, like
He didn't show
that's
up.
just pathetic.
He didn't
I would
show
never
up.
do that ever.
Ever.
Morsky.
It's the version. This is MC Jarbo or Dagunt who did this song. We made this song possible. I have a lot of personal pride in this song because it wouldn't have existed, including several
Oh my
memes
fucking
that
hell!
we invented.
Mario Carter 13 says, "Did you corner the judge in the?"
This one I think ends up being pretty good, by the way. Although it's a little long, but this one I want to just play through. But there was like several memes, especially about giving a rage pig a hysterectomy that came directly from us. I'm sure most people will never realize that, but absolutely that was ironically though that was something we actually said about Ethan Van Sciver. In fact, that was something I remember. Doug TeNapel he thought that was especially funny when we said that Ethan needs a hysterectomy. Ethan Van Sciver specifically, but clearly if the way it always does, it filtered down into the inferior culture, the under people memes, our superior Hyperborean patrician memes, very commonly filter down to the under people, the lessers, without them ever being aware that it came from us. Naturally, that usually is how it is from the upper people, the overmen, if you will. That's a good way to put it. But also the criticism of Ethan Ralph actually. We didn't invent that. That didn't start with us. In fact, I remember other people, telling us, "Oh man, Ethan Ralph, he's a complete lol cow," and I was like, "Oh, must be," because he also, just the same way Nick Rekieta did, he was in the pocket of Ethan Van Sciver, and of all the people to be in the pocket of, too. Find radio. Is that supposed to be here? It looks like there's some kind of door. These quests suck. Because this game sucks. This game sucks. My inventory's completely full. I can't even pick up any more guns. Not that I need to. All the guns are going to sell for like $300, $400, and then I'm just going to fucking... I already have $1.3 million, so I can't even spend the amount of money I have now. I can't even take enough damage, which that's good with me. What is this though? Oh shit! Wait, should I go down here? Oh no, there's another. Let's get through this though. Now, yeah, the version of that song though had some other guy, Cog, who was now people recognize him as a lol cow. And it's kind of funny, the guy, he does really good songs, but every time he has a guest on, in fact, one of the first people he had as a guest was Ethan Ralph to make fun of Mundane Matt. And we see how that turned out. And then so he has the songs to make fun of Ethan Ralph. And then, wait a second, where am I specifically? Is this where I am? Is there nothing here? I don't know. You know what? Let's play this. I'll just play this.
The elevator.
Trying to figure
or do you
this
save
shit
that
out.
move for the ladies? I literally have no fucking idea what weird story this is.
Weird. Guys, it's weird.
Cornering a judge in an elevator is not something I've ever done. So I'm not sure. There's not even an elevator in our courthouse. Or wait, there is an elevator. It's what the handicap people use sometimes.
I don't care.
There's not an elevator that I would be in with a judge in our courthouse because one, the judges don't walk around in the front court area.
Get 'em,
they wouldn't
Nick.
take
Yes.
the elevator that's there.
Well, there we
and
go.
two,
That's it. Nick just won this one. That was
haven't
easy
been in
victory
an
for him.
elevator with the judge since I think in law school. I might have been in an I was in the elevator in law school with the Minnesota Supreme Court Chief Justice, whatever her name was. I don't remember now. She's very nice. She's very kind. But that wasn't. I don't think that's what people are talking about. I'm not sure what story this is, but okay. The Kiwis will be very happy to know that I had to read up on my thread a little bit, and I found something that was great because it's Kiwi farms acting just like government.
The Kiwis are going to be happy because, as always, we win, and then years later, the Kiwis also do, after us, usually because of us. They win. Kiwi Farms only wins because we won. Same for actually PPP. He basically did what we did just years later. Although not in every instance. Sometimes it's around the same time. For Ricada, he went after Ricada and they it was like the same time that we were. And the funny thing is that he didn't even really do as good of a job. He did about well, it was basically just him being sort of the diet derivative of our original formula, where the thing is that he didn't even know some of the stuff going on with Ricada behind the scenes that was just very, again, pretty much on the surface, where Ricada was just sucking the dick of pathological liars who were constant, like fucking Ethan Van Sciver right there is the proof. Any person who ever stuck up for Ethan Van Sciver is themselves should be considered impossible to trust. You should hold them to the same standard you would hold like a fucking a serial killer. Oh, there. But that is all evident. That's all obvious. Anyone who doesn't know that literally doesn't know anything.
And I get to demonstrate that in this case, and why it's so why it's such a weird problem.
Weird
that comes up. And
the W word.
The one thing that's consistent in this life is if you point out something to someone, they get really angry about it. That goes for me too, right? Like I'm not even being critical here.
Yeah, it's true.
But I tried to point this out to a former friend a while back. The symptom that
he's got so many
Kiwis have.
Friends.
And the farms has this problem. They don't realize that they do this all the time, but when they find themselves doing it, they then like explain it away after some mild argument, and then it just kind of disappears. But it's this phenomena of like insular telephone. And it's where something happens.
Nick thought he really had something with this insular telephone phrase. He was like, "Oh, this is the one. This is the one that's really going to get him."
And then like a fact is created or completely wrong, and then just gets adopted as the truth, and people run with it as the truth, as if it were, and it becomes the truth. Kiwi Farms acts like they're very thorough and investigative and all this stuff, which is fine. Sometimes
Rekieta is talking about something that's proven true. He's just straight up. That's the really bizarre thing is there are times where you can see Rekieta rationalize something to himself where it's clearly bullshit, but you can see the way he's trying to twist it, the way he's trying to manipulate the information and, make it look like you guys don't understand. It's actually more like this. And a way that can be just misinterpreted intentionally one way or the other. But the thing that's really bizarre about Rekieta, and it's been something we've been pointing out, is that it's true about all of these YouTubers, every single one of these YouTubers. But why am I still picking up guns? Bill. But the fact about all of them is that all of them are capable of doing this. It's the reason why they become YouTubers. It's the reason why they monetize pretending to care about Star Wars when they don't. They surround themselves with toys to sell this marketable product of nerd. I am nerd. The product is nerd. And the lowest of the bottom of the scum of the human race find that entertaining. They find it they find that validating to find a fake performative nerd pretend to hold opinions that they want. Quartering is a perfect example of this. Nerdrotic even has the word nerd in his name for the branding. It's like the corporate concept of branding. It's like, we want to sell to the nerd market, the nerd demographic. Okay, first thing you got to do, put the word nerd into the product you want to artificially construct. And that's how all of them do it. If you think that isn't what's going on, you're one of the people who thinks that, that Biden was legitimately elected and that he was a good president. You're on that same equivalent. You're the same type of person who thinks things like that. You're never going to be any different. Wait here. Back to this so that we can hopefully get it over with.
Sometimes they're not.
This one's a little long.
What they always are is adding.
This one's very validating, omitting too.
Critical details that change or create out of nothing stories.
This is a wonderful projection,
kind of official canon.
Nick is
of
fully
internet
projecting
retards.
Here,
and the government does
He's
this
done
too. Everything, and that's what was really interesting to me today. Was seeing the government do this. Do the exact same thing that Kiwi Farms did. And the only reason I can bring it up is because if you tell anybody on the forum that they do this, they'll deny.
He acts like there's really that much of a consensus with Kiwi Farms. What the people on Kiwi Farms thinks really doesn't have that much of a consensus. There are a lot of people who agree with each other. There are a lot of people who enforce ideological groupthink or groupthink of some opinion for one thing or another. But ultimately, there are a lot of people on Kiwi Farms who don't see things the same way that the other people on Kiwi Farms do about a lot of things. It really depends. But it is like, as much as I don't want to defend anyone like Null ever, not because I disagree with him or think he's wrong about stuff, but just because he's a total fucking dweeb. But the reason why Null and Rekieta had their falling out was because Null was pointing out the stuff that the same way we did years before Null ever did, of course, where Null did not have the balls to do this in a million years, but Null was pointing out simply the verbatim speech that Drexel was talking about with the girl who he knew when she was underage and went with Disneyland tour, and then eventually took her to BDSM sex clubs when she aged up enough. And Nick Rekieta swore up and down. He said, like, all I did was tell Null that he was wrong. That's all I was saying. I didn't tell him to delete anything. I was just telling Null that those things weren't true. But the fact is, they were true because Null wasn't saying. What was that actually? That's something I can. Oh yeah, I knew it. Is that going to actually do anything though? Is that for a quest? Can't even fucking tell. But all Null was doing was pointing out. Oh wait. Okay. What? That needed an idiot marker more than anything. That was stupid. Quests without an idiot marker are idiot quests. That's the truth. Find radio. Okay, that was for a different quest then, isn't it? Oh, you know what? That's because I'm tracking the wrong quest. No wonder it's not. Okay, there's no idiot marker because I wasn't tracking the quest. That one, you know what? That was my fault. But then again, I am busy with something way more important. But also less important. Out of all the things that I have to say could be less important, then Borderlands 2 would be Nick Rekieta, and the one thing that is less important than Nick Rekieta is Borderlands 2. Speaking of which, of course,
like crazy. They're like, this never happens. Then there's like the one guy's like, guys, it kind of happens, all the time. But like, we try and fix
people
it.
like you.
If you try and tell them, they'll spur out about it until you can show them. Then when you show them, they're like, oh, well, this happened.
Nope. It's
only this time. Okay.
It's really bizarre because if you listen to that, I played that clip, of course. When it comes to spurging out, like nobody's broken Nick Rekieta the way that I did without even trying. Just off, because that's the one thing he can't stand. The stuff with people arguing with him, he will pull this smug shit. But when you just casually, offhandedly just throw out making fun of him, like fucking me saying, me making fun of him because he couldn't show people pictures of him golfing with Vic. And it's just like, well, that's sad. I feel bad for Nick Rekieta. Just a completely throwaway line like that. That was, by the way, that exact moment also was what got people fucking so fuming at me. They were like, I used to like you. I had respect for you. And it's like, I have no idea who you are. I've seen you as some person who's a fan of Dick Masterson or something, or you're one of the fans of fucking Revenge of the Sis, but I don't know who you are. I don't follow any of that shit enough. Who cares? So it's like, I don't give a shit about your respect. Anyone, and it's one thing I learned, and I used to try to give people the benefit of the doubt, even at that point. At that exact point, I was like, did I really do something wrong? I had to actually think. I want to think twice. Even if I don't want to think twice, I do anyways. I'm like, okay, maybe that's something for me to think about. What's that? But I've learned from very unfortunate, very sad personal experience, too much personal experience, that there's no point, there's no reason for me to think twice anymore. I have started to realize that if I don't really know specifically, if I'm not very versed in a topic, if I don't know a lot about it, I might fucking spout off about it, and I could be wrong about it. But when it's something I do know, there's no reason to second guess. It's just anyone who gets mad, they get mad because they're wrong. I already knew that. There's a lot of that I've known from a lot of experience. Whenever somebody gets mad over something that I say that I know something personally about, they're always mad because they're wrong. Nobody's ever been mad because they were right about something like that. But it's also like a personal thing. There's more to it than that. It's kind of tricky to explain in detail the exact specifics of when somebody is just whining about something. You know what, though? Let me track this other quest while listening to this.
Sure. But they take this thing
weirdo
and they create a fact that becomes a reality. And that reality then just persists on. That's happened in this case in a way that I can demonstrate through the hearing today. So it's something that I can bring to you guys that I don't think anybody else will be able to.
Yeah, nothing. Nick Rekieta will never bring any
I'm not watching their coverage
to anything.
I wanted to do this because
he wants to be that guy.
There's been a story floating around.
Nick Rekieta, this is the thing that's also like something that deserves no second guessing. Just like everyone else, just like Kiwi Farms and Null, and fucking, so many other people, even the people who call us SJWs when they behave like actual SJWs every time, and we don't. And then they, lie about things that they want people to believe we did. And they, again, the way that another thing that's incredibly important that I was talking about earlier is the way that they also hide behind. Oh, what's this? The way that they hide behind their audience when they lie. All of these YouTubers have done it. All of the biggest YouTubers, the 1 million follower, subscriber YouTube, fucking Quartering and Nerdrotic, and all of those people, fucking Mauler and Critical Drinker, every single one of those people has directly provided aid and succor or in any way support to people who have done that, who have been the exact SJW they pretend to be against. The most woke, like mentally ill, pathological lying people. They have directly supported and promoted and still do. The chance for them to make good on that had come and passed years ago. All of them. They fucking still bring on these completely mentally ill, deranged, pathological liars who continue to lie, even as they then get, in disgrace, will do things, quietly, like fucking try and go back to Tim and Mark and be like, hey, do you guys have any advice for, just that kind of shit. And I don't want to speak for Tim and Mark, but I think this just should be said. Maybe just my speculation or whatever. I think this needs to be said. Tim and Mark and Iconic will never trust you. To Yellow Umbrella Flash. They will never trust you because you've already proven that there is never any situation where you will be trustworthy. You've already shown that. And that's, that is still ultimately up to Tim and Mark to decide how to react about the groveling from these kinds of people. But the same way that if I'm going to give them advice, which I don't want to be the guy who's going to pretend to know better than Tim and Mark. It's certainly about comics. They fucking have launched a huge comic that's blowing up so much that even people who wanted to despise them had, been forced to admit that they're doing good. But I think that it would certainly behoove them very well to heed this advice if I were to give it to them personally. I haven't. I don't think I should have to. If it comes down to that, I'll try to. But they should never, ever in a million years give any, a little advice. That's fine. But they should never actually trust any of these people associated with even a single person who would ever be on stream with like Yellow Umbrella or even people who had been on streams with because all of those people, all of the other YouTubers, Quartering, nerd crew guys, that kind of shit. The fake geek culture war astroturfed YouTubers. They should not try. They should treat them the same way that they would treat Comic Hut now is that Comic Hut is, he may go crawling back at some point too. That's not quite as likely, of course, but that might happen. But if that does, there's no reason, accept his apology, sure. Support him, help him, give him advice. No, I would say just don't. Just be like, look, I accept your apology, but you had your chance. And that's what I would say, how to handle it. Or at the very least, cut him off, or be like, well, I can give you advice. The thing about they can give them advice too. Fucking the only advice about I can give any of those people advice about Common America, because it's the same advice, the same stuff we've been saying on our videos for years, going back to the old channel. Some of the stuff that's still backed up on our BitChute channel from 2019, but videos that we had done in 2018 and 2017, and stuff we had been saying on our blog since 2015, 2014, 2013, and so on, is that if you want to get popular, if you want to get big in Japan, like Alphaville, or Common America, first thing you have to do, it's very simple. Just make something that Japanese readers would want to read. The problem is, not a single person in Comicsgate who is ever in Comicsgate will ever do that. None of them can do that. None of them will do that. Eric July can't do. Eric July will never do that because he doesn't make comics to be read. He makes collectible. He's one of the modern American comic creators that only makes collectibles. That's it. That's the whole reality of the thing. They're meant to be collected. They're meant to, they're like, savings bonds for stupid people that never mature. The savings bonds never mature. They never become valuable. They never become worth anything. Probably an easier way to get down there, right? Well, doesn't matter now. But that's the truth, is that if you want to make the stuff, oh, here we go. Nice. If you want to make the stuff that's going to be popular like Common America, all you have to do is just make stuff that Japanese readers want to read, which you can't. You can't do that. Tim and Mark can do that. We can do that. We have not really done that yet. But of course, we haven't barely made any comics yet, and we're hoping to be able to pump up production more. We're in the process of making one right now, and I can have one translated to Japanese, and it might actually get some Japanese readers. Common America doesn't have a huge Japanese readership either, but it does have one, whereas Isum and Cyberfrog never will. There aren't Japanese readers who are like, oh man, Isum. It's going to be a curiosity at best, but there is not a single thing in Isum you can read that you can't read in Marvel or DC Comics. But the same applies for Cyberfrog. Not a single thing in Cyberfrog stands out from Marvel or DC books. Not a single thing from any book in Comicsgate does. The books that we make do. The books that Tim and Mark make do. That's why they actually have a real readership. They don't need astroturfed YouTubers who just shill with never anything positive to say about, again, the old joke that really came from us about Cyberfrog, where none of them can ever say what their favorite part of Cyberfrog is. They can never say what their favorite part of Isum is. Where that specific line came from us first, and other people who wish they were us, who want to pretend that they're us, just repeat it and parrot it. And the same way that it was true, of course, for about Cyberfrog and Isum. People can't look at it and say, it's why we called it the Common America rule, because people do that for Common America. People do that for our books too. People have done that for for literally. People have done that for years for Princess High Ground, which we didn't make Princess High Ground. Jerk did, but Jerk did that on the blog, and there was a lot of inspiration between all of us. So I'm not going to take credit necessarily for we didn't write it and we didn't draw it. So that's all Jerk. But there was Trolley McDouche is directly named after a character from one of my earlier comics as well. So again, there's a lot of inspiration. In fact, it's funny. I even forgot about this, but somebody linked that clip a few years back, a couple years, I think 1 or 2, in fact. But of Tim and Mark from one of our oldest streams together, where Tim actually says that we influenced Common America. Let's see. Oh boy, did I miss this area? I don't know. You know what though? Where's the teleporter area?
This kind of came up the other day, and I actually like I said, I saw this on Kiwi Farms, and it finally has kind of resolved itself, which is weird.
Weird.
People have accused me of confronting a judge. Actually, I believe they are accusing me of confronting that judge, Judge Fisher, in an elevator. I could safely say I don't recall ever being in an elevator with Judge Fisher,
that doesn't matter.
Nor ever confronting Judge Fisher.
Nick, you did cocaine, and your daughter was exposed to cocaine. Here's another thing, and this is something that continues to validate us, that we are years ahead, streets ahead, perhaps even, of Kiwi Farms, is that Nick Rekieta and his wife have clearly exposed their children to pornography. So did that umbrella guy, which, by the way, when he gets invited on, when him or Yellow Tug Flash get invited on any of these streams, they know, the people who do these streams, they know about this. It's not some kind of mysterious secret. It's not even a cover-up. It's just they don't give a shit. It's the exact same way that all the stuff with P. Diddy had been going on for years, and that people are realizing that Justin Bieber was molested, and all these people at Nickelodeon, these girls, when they were underage, were getting abused and stuff by producers. Just all of that story. And here's the thing: to show how stupid you are if you doubt any of this, is you really think they can do that at Nickelodeon, or famous rappers can do it, but a YouTuber can't. You're just making excuses for abusers at that point, because that's not up for debate. That's not a questionable thing. That's not something that's up for debate. Even if people on Kiwi Farms are completely out in the open with calling that umbrella guy a child abuser. It's not a secret. Everyone knows it. The thing is, the real question is, why do people still keep bringing him on streams? And the cope for that would normally make sense for it to be that they must not know. But the sad reality is that they do know. We don't want them to know. We would love to live in a world where guys like Nerdrotic and Heel of His Baby Face are wholesome people who would never just tolerate that kind of shit. Let's see here. Okay. This is working. Okay. That didn't work. Well, that just happened. How do I drive? You know what? While I'm driving, let's turn on the radio and listen to some good talk radio while I'm driving.
But this is how this thing works. It's this insular telephone.
Gay guy.
Part of my falling out with Josh Moon from Kiwi Farms was trying to inform him of the insular telephone problem. I didn't have a witty name for it, but trying to inform him
he really
of the
thinks that's a
insular
good
telephone problem on the farms, where a group of people will create something, and they'll morph a set of ideas into something that didn't exist before, but it will become factual.
Which
and in
was
this case,
factual.
It's a story I told, actually, yes, about Judge Fisher.
Well, yeah, there's other stories.
It was the last criminal case I represented. And after that case was...
It's bizarre. It's like Nick didn't realize that Kiwi Farms is primarily a gossip site. It just straight up is. It always was supposed to be. That's not some kind of denigration of Kiwi Farms either. It's something that they want to admit to.
After the...
But it's like he can't
square
that circle.
Which my client got the guideline sentence. The judge was not willing to turn that many felonies into a stay of adjudication.
That many felonies?
I was hoping for it. It was really unlikely. But
what kind of creeps are you even
one of the things the judge had said while dressing down my client during sentencing, which is something...
You're making friends on YouTube with just straight up actual child abusers, and fucking that goes to show it. Rekieta wasn't just representing tremendous creepy fucking like psychos on accident. When you're making friends on YouTube by choice, you're choosing to be friends with genuine psychopaths. It's hard to even tell. How do I get out of this? Buttons. No. What the fuck? Oh, that was kind of cool, but how do I... Oh, okay. Left grip for some reason to get out of that. All right, whatever. Here, you know what? Let's go back to this.
Judges do. They
do they
give a life lesson to the person who's about to go to prison, because, like, I don't know. If I'm going to prison,
you don't know.
If you're sentencing me and I'm going to go from the sentencing to prison, the last thing I'm thinking about, honestly, is like the heartfelt life lesson that the judge is giving me. That I'm not even trying to be rude. It's just not the thing that would be on my mind.
Don't be rude.
But the judge is dressing down my client, and my client was charged with and pled guilty to stealing quite a large sum of money. And
must have been Chrissy Mayer.
The judge took umbrage at one point.
She stole a whole Christmas
tree.
The
idea that my client had paid for a private attorney. And, so judge had dressed her down for that. And the hearing was over, and my client was taken away. I was packing up my stuff. I was the last person in the courtroom.
To death row.
The judge re-entered the courtroom. Now, to be clear, I'm still at counsel table, and the judge is up at the bench. Like, I'm nowhere near this judge.
You're really clearing up the story here, Nick. Wow. Good job.
I didn't take a dime for the case. I did it for free. The judge seemed to be frustrated with my client for having the audacity to hire a private attorney while being accused of stealing money.
How does this remove the cocaine from your daughter's hair? Or not from her hair, from her system, from her bloodstream? It's important to make the distinction. They didn't fucking find it in her hair. They test your hair because that shows any chemicals that have been in your system will end up in your hair.
Which is not actually a proper criticism at all. But hey, but I informed the judge that I took the case pro bono, and
wow.
And she said, "Thanks for that." I don't know exactly what she meant by when she said thanks for that. I took it as
maybe she meant you're gay.
Kind of like I feel kind of like an asshole. Like that's how
kill a chubby.
That's the kind of feel I got. Like, oh, I guess I was kind of an asshole for saying that. Wasn't going to change her opinion. I mean, she gave her the guideline sentence, so I don't think there was much impact there. But I thought it was improper, and I let the judge know that I took the case pro bono. I wasn't paid for it. So yeah, that was that. But what happened was one person on Kiwi Farms, like a year after.
This is bizarre. That really stuck in his memory enough to tell this story in this much detail, to be like, yeah, I took the case pro bono, and I told the judge that, and she seemed kind of snide about it. It's like, you really got that bothered by that? I mean, what did she want you? Did you want her to give you a cookie or something? What exactly was the goal? And of course, we know Ricada. I especially. I mean, I know people. It's weird because there's no reason for me to be this aware of people's behavior, but I don't know, for the past 20 years, I like to think I'm studying it in a really autistic way. It's called autism when you notice things. The worst form of autism is noticing things. So I've been noticing people's behaviors, to in one, I guess, let's call it a cope. One of the many reasons. Can I fucking smash? Oh yeah, all right, yeah. But I can also shoot it, right? Well, and it turns into what? It turns into $7. Great. Yeah. Well, complete the mission. Oh, that was completing a mission? Okay, if you say so. What do they want me to do now? Go behind the door? Yeah, whatever. Okay. Neat. I guess that's kind of neat. From knowing behavior, from studying behavior so that I can be a writer. It's part of my creative writing lessons. Knowing that Nick's behavior inside and out, because it's very simple, is he legitimately thinks that he was, really pulling one over. He was owning that judge, and that judge was being a stupid idiot, not appreciating his graciousness. Get away, bitch. Boom. Fuck you. Okay. But yeah, this is how he sees it, and it's sticking in his mind forever. He's going to take this to the grave with him, where he's just permanently sneezing about this judge seemingly have a snarky response to Nick just trying to show what a great person he is by doing a pro bono case for probably somebody who is just almost completely unrepentant. Probably was like, yeah, I stole all that shit, but fuck them. I needed those fucking Christmas presents more than that homeless family did, or whatever. That meth head family, the same way Nick Ricada looks down on people. The same way all of them look down on people, like even, like the same way Eric July looks down on people who are poor, says that they're poor as a way to look down on them. That is like pure Nick Ricada behavior from every single, and it's condoned by every single person involved with the whole Rippaverse scam, which goes to show they're not anti-woke. If you were anti-woke, you wouldn't do that. No anti-woke person does that, says that, talks like that. You know what they do? They get their books out and just fucking, if the haters have anything to say, they just go, oh, whatever. The woke people are the people who monetize their haters. Monetizing your haters is leftist, shit libtard, fucking woke bullshit. And always was, going back decades. You haven't actually been part of the anti-woke, anti-SJW side of anything, of existence, of human freedom and liberty, until you've realized that. And, most people don't. Most people on Kiwi farms are leftists in practice. Most people who, pretend to be against the woke bullshit in the culture war are leftists who just either can't admit it or aren't smart enough to realize it, and they're appealing to people who also aren't smart enough to realize it. Again, we're talking about the bottom of the barrel, the lowest scum of the human race. Now let's see what was
After I told the
speaking
story,
of lowest scum, what was Rokeda just saying?
Created the detail that I confronted this, or that this happened in an elevator. And then it became that I confronted this judge in an elevator. And then the story on Kiwi Farms most recent.
So his defense of this whole story is semantics. It's like, no, it didn't take place here. It's like, okay, that doesn't matter where it took place. If fucking you had this cope session about something, and yeah, Kiwi Farms is going to get the details wrong because it's just a bunch of people bullshitting and talking off the cuff. If it was about somebody who was actually innocent, like say somebody who didn't feed their kids cocaine or whatever. Hold on a second. I'm just gonna snipe this guy and wait. Oh, I have to hit his legs. I should not be doing this from this distance. I'm going to anyways. Yep. Is he dead? Yep. Oh, he dropped loot. Hold on. Ah, I lived. All right, that's the way ammo should vacuum up, is I just walk up near it. This game sucks because of that. That's one of the many reasons this game sucks. This game was never good. I'm not saying that this game sucks now. This game was never good, but that is something that could have been fixed at any time if this game had, good devs who knew what they were doing. It never did, though. If me and my brother were working at Gearbox, this game would have been 10 times better than what it ended up being. We would have first job, fire Anthony Birch. Second job, fire Anthony Birch again. There we go. And then third job, replace Anthony Birch at writing. And then fourth job would be to actually make the gameplay better, which is pretty easy.
Recently is that I aggressively confronted a judge and because this sounds like a reasonable thing for an attorney to do, is to aggressively confront a judge in an elevator, especially when I'm a larger man the judge is.
You've done dumber things, Nick.
A smaller woman, height wise. We're talking about a pretty significant difference here. But the suggestion that I confronted this judge in an elevator and aggressively
objection irrelevant
berated her for this thing is fucking ludicrous.
Objection,
but this is
Nick.
People's headcanon on Kiwi Farms,
straight, Nick.
Around me. Now, look, I'm not doing the thing where it's like, oh, Nick found this thing. He's gonna say that everything. No, it's just this is an example. This is an example of part of the problem that I was trying to tell Josh about a year and a half ago.
Important.
Before he started looking at Shota again or whatever.
Wrong as usual. Oh, he looked at Shota.
You get this game of telephone where facts are created about people and they become the truth according to the farms. You can't there's no defense. People independently found it today after. I guess this story's been going on for.
It's funny because I generally just dismiss Kiwi Farms as being out of the loop about stuff that's blatantly obvious, that's public, that any moron can notice, and not even about everything, just some stuff, and only very lately catching on sometimes about stuff like this. This gun is definitely making short work of these guys. That's good. But the thing about Kiwi Farms is they're not the paper of record. As much as I will make fun of Kiwi Farms, I still don't take it that seriously. I'm kind of surprised we don't have a thread or something, because they've done that where Kiwi Farms will make a thread in defense of a lolcow. Or they won't make the thread about the lolcow. They make the thread about somebody that the lolcow doesn't like. And then they will delete threads. People have tried to make threads about Ethan Van Sciver for years, and it had already been justified, and they get deleted because the people. I can't take the pizza. The people who the mods on Kiwi Farms run protection for people like Ethan Van Sciver or like Nick Rekieta. For a while, it was pretty much, it was like borderline illegal on Kiwi Farms to criticize Rekieta at all, even though, you know, all the stuff that we criticized about Rekieta was dead on right, and everyone on Kiwi Farms was dead wrong about. Now Kiwi Farms is, you know, they've become our parroting puppets. Good job, Kiwi Farms, for that. But the thing is that, again, even with all that, I still don't take it that seriously. I wouldn't. Why would you take you? He's taking it seriously. Nick Rekieta is acting like Kiwi Farms is like the New York Times, where even people on Kiwi Farms don't take it that personally or seriously as a fucking a place of public record or something. It's a place where people just talk shit about e-celebs. And in many cases, the biggest problem with Kiwi Farms is all the times that they defend and piss chug for e-celebs. Aside from that, it's just a fucking message board. That's it. It's not that important, but Nick Rekieta is acting like it's that important. And that's really his problem. That's another example of how he's really stupid and especially thin-skinned,
now.
as we had said and proven years ago.
I can recall one time being in an elevator with a judge. It wasn't that one, and I was in law school, and I was certainly not confrontational. It was quite friendly. So I'm not sure where this even fucking came from, but it turned out it was just one dummy on Kiwi Farms who just created the detail.
So just one guy.
And then he so belligerently insisted that it was the truth, that it became the truth. There was no one to check it. So the story came out. That's happened in this case.
Nick's done that. That exact thing that Nick is accusing Kiwi Farms of doing, Nick's done and still does. And fucking, you know, all of the other YouTubers do that. Some of the only people who don't do that is us. We don't do that. Never did that. Never going to, because we're like genetically incapable of doing that. To the point where it's why I don't read Kiwi Farms, why I don't register there. It's why I don't even skim it. I haven't read anything on Kiwi Farms in, actually, it's been a few months. And I think I was looking, I was looking for the, you know, it hasn't been a few months. It was last month. And I was looking for the preview of Super Killer. And that was it. It was like 10 minutes looking, you know, searching for Vito, the preview that he posted that got posted to Kiwi Farms. And then that was it. Before that, it had been another month or two since I had read Kiwi Farms. And if I read it, it was something else like that. That was like a 10-minute search for something. I think it had been months, several months. But again, it's not that. It ultimately, there's some interesting stuff on Kiwi Farms. That's why I have gone there a few times. But most of it is just shit that's so far behind us. Like years and years. I'm not saying that as some kind of joke or dig against Kiwi Farms. I'm saying it because we've actually measured it. Where stuff we said years ago, people on Kiwi Farms are like, no, that's wrong. And then like 3, 4, sometimes 5 years later, everyone, not even other people on Kiwi Farms, everyone on Kiwi Farms starts saying the exact verbatim words that we had said. To the point where it got so bad for people on Kiwi Farms about how right we are, how right we always were, and how wrong they always were, that several of the mods, one in particular, that stenographer guy, fled this site entirely. He was one of the major mods, especially for here we go. Especially for the Comicsgate thread, and he was also a Rekieta piss drinker, of course. And after the Rekieta stuff started coming out, he tried to take Rekieta's side, and then he just fucking disappeared after it didn't stop. And that ultimately, that's the reality of Kiwi Farms. That it's not just that Kiwi Farms is behind us by years, although they are. It's just that it's so fucking embarrassing that people leave the site, people flee Kiwi Farms because they fucking disagreed with us at any point ever about anything. That's how fucking blown out everyone else gets. Very sad for them, though. Not for us. It's pretty good
in ways that are right here on the face of things and that pop up in observable ways. That's why I like the ability to see some of this stuff. And in this case, Miss Pierce has stated that drugs were out in the open. Those are not the facts alleged
because in the people like you
in the probable cause statement.
Invisible,
just simply
assholes.
Not the facts. But she's created facts that would create liability, not just for April potentially, but also for Kayla, because the statute is anyone in the room should have this presumptive possession. But the fact created by Miss Pierce isn't true. But she said it in court on the record. Question is, who's gonna prosecute her for it, right?
Yeah. Here's the problem: is that if she didn't like Rekieta's qualification for her lying is that he doesn't like that she said it. We've seen that before. Because I could believe that there's some qualification for him claiming that she lied, but I've seen it before where he has said that I lied about something that I showed the evidence proving that I was telling the truth, and that Nick Rekieta was lying by saying that I was lying. And that also, when other people did that, the same situation, he would bring people on who were lying and just take their side, and their entire argument was just that I wasn't as popular on YouTube so that no one would believe me. They would just come out and admit that. After somebody comes out and admits that, if you still support them, you are more woke leftist than the most batshit troon. You basically have trooned out. You have become a transhuman where you're wearing the disguise of a human being, but you're not. What am I looking for here? The outwash. Am I here? Am I already here? Okay, I'm already here. Bright lights flying. Okay, it's tracking. Get to your friends. Okay, how? What does that even mean? I'm at my friends. Maybe it's playing something that I can't hear or whatever. Again, these quests are so poorly designed.
Is the state going to go after itself? And the same thing with Alicia Sweep. Alicia Sweep created the concept of a live-in nanny at the Rekieta household, something we've never had.
It's like that the old joke, the old line about, is that pointing at me? I'll take that, motherfucker. The old joke that if you go outside and everyone you meet is an asshole, you're the asshole. With Nick Rekieta here, he goes outside and everyone's lying. Alicia Sweep is lying, and this person's lying, and that person's lying. It's like, clearly you're just making something up at this point. If you're demanding, you're insisting that every single person you ran into about this situation lied, then it's clear that you're lying. That's the whole thing, is that people were giving Nick the benefit of the doubt about the cocaine thing. They're like, okay, it tests for metabolites. It's like, no, Nick Rekieta just gave his daughter cocaine, or she found cocaine and took some regularly. There is no reason to give him the benefit of the doubt for anything regarding this. And I think that kind of, at the beginning, other people were like, oh, well, maybe we should, we should find out. Let's wait and find out what the details are. This is a serious accusation. It's like, you know what's really a serious accusation is fucking the stuff Nick said. The stuff Nick said about us is a more serious accusation because it was provably a lie and nobody would look into it. Nobody, for the longest time, nobody gave us the benefit of the doubt about stuff that was completely false about us. And we would tell the truth. We would say, okay, here's our story. And everyone would dismiss it because, and they would also admit it's because we weren't popular on YouTube. That was entirely the thing. That is not a human behavior. Human people don't do that. No actual human being does that. A subhuman does that. And the fact is that, most people, there are so many people who are just subhumans. And it's not a pleasant thought. It's not a happy thing to admit. But a lot of people just aren't actually people. They don't really qualify it really as a human being. Either that or, again, we're a species above and superior to everyone else on the planet. You know what? I could accept that. That might actually be more plausible. But it's a binary choice. It's one or the other. Either everyone else, the vast majority of every single person on the planet is not a human, or we're a superior. We're a subspecies that is superior to everyone else. And I don't want it to be that way. I would like to relate to people, but I can't relate to people who don't have, basic morals, just completely simple morals. Again, that's what I don't want to have a problem with. I want to respect Christians and Christianity, but I really can't because so many of them are completely immoral, worse than immoral. They are, ironically, satanic. Some of the most immoral satanic people in existence are Christians, and by their own standards, not by mine, but by their own. But also by the standards of objective morality, which I wish Christianity had more of a clue about, was more correct and accurate about, but it's not. Measurably, it's not. Which is, I just think is unfortunate. But if it wasn't true, if it wasn't true, I'd be a Christian right now. I would love to be a Christian right now if there was, actual morality in Christianity. So it's really it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, you could say. And there's there's no other way around it. There is no version of that is different. And there is no mistaking it. I don't have things mistaken. Everyone else does. The entire rest of the world is wrong. And I don't want it to be that way. I don't want to be against the rest of the world or have the rest of the world be against me. But I didn't choose for it to be that way. I didn't choose for everyone else to lovingly choose to intentionally support child abusers, and they do. Fucking not just Nick Rekieta, because that's the funny thing is Nick Rekieta is one example of that. But then now even the people who are criticizing Nick Rekieta also are child abusers. Right out in the open. I don't think they are. They showed that they are. They befriended actual convicted pedophiles and all that shit. The same way Nick Rekieta is a convicted cokehead. He's just, he's guilty. That's the thing, is that why would you even need to wait for the trial? There's no point in that. We know he's guilty. It's not because we assume he is, or because we think he is, or because we wish he is. It's because we've already seen the evidence. What a trial does is it gathers the evidence and weighs the evidence. But the evidence that they're going to gather and weigh is the stuff we already seen and have known. We already know the stuff about Rekieta, that he is a cokehead. So that's confirmed. The case is closed for anyone who chose to look at the evidence. The people who don't want to accept it, they're, again, they're a species beneath. Nothing I can do about that. That's not my choice. I didn't choose for them to be an inferior species. I didn't choose for them to be born with inferior DNA. And they say, it's not fair they were born with inferior DNA. Which, it's not fair. That's true. But also, just like pouring oil down the drain, not my problem. Here, this one's long. I think this is 18 minutes. I said I wasn't going to play long.
Never been a thing,
clips,
actually.
This one is important.
These statements are impactful. They're material to the
also
actual
said these were going to be
crimes.
shorter. This one's not. Clearly not shorter.
They also, of course, conveniently get spread to the public because part of the government machine of prosecution is to have...
Again, he's blaming the government.
These allegations go...
The legitimate insanity of Nick Rekieta. It's not that he's dishonest. It's not that he's a lol cow. He's legitimately insane. He is a horror cow. And I think it's really bizarre and funny. It's funny.
That's funny.
And even...
Weird.
That I know this better than everyone on Kiwi Farms. But I have proven, and I've been vindicated, that I do. People on Kiwi Farms really don't know what a lol cow is. I think that is bizarre. That's sincerely bizarre. Because I don't even really care.
I don't care
that much about lol cows. I don't find them that funny or entertaining, really. I don't really keep up with it. Like, I was kind of tempted to watch the whole Geno Samuel documentary series about Chris Chan, but ultimately, aside from relatively mild interest in the Chris Chan stuff or, funny things making fun of it, I sincerely am not that interested in Chris Chan. When he got arrested again recently, I think that was last month also, I didn't even watch the videos about it. I didn't watch any of the body cam footage or any of that kind of shit because I just wasn't that interested in Chris Chan. And I don't look down on people who are. I just, myself personally, I'm not really that interested. And yet at the same time, I know more about what actually is a lol cow than everyone at Kiwi Farms. And I think that's a little twisted. Welcome to my twisted mind, if you will. But I think it really is freakish how because they're a website dedicated to lol cows and making fun of the lol cows or whatever. And yet they can't even identify them. Several of them constantly spend their lives, their every waking second of their lives, running defense for lol cows and insisting, swearing up and down that they're not lol cows up until something like Rekieta being arrested for cocaine, which any moron should have been able to tell. Again, maybe that's just me being, smarter than everyone else, which I don't want to admit. I don't want to say that. I don't want to be going around being like, I'm smarter than everyone else, but that should have surprised nobody. It didn't surprise me. When it happened, I was like, yeah, that's Rekieta. Fucking, not even at the arrest, but the whole downfall and all that shit. When the pictures of the bottle up his ass and all that stuff. That shouldn't have surprised anyone for 1 second either. It's fucking goofy as hell. Because Kiwi Farms got blindsided by that. They were shocked that Rekieta did that. And I was like, no, this is exactly what I was talking about for years. Here's yet again, we don't need more proof that we're right about all of this shit. But there it is right there. It doesn't even matter. Because that's not going to be the last time that happens. It's going to happen again, then it's going to happen again. So again. let's get back to.
Out. They exist in the public eye. So now I have people who believe that we had a live-in nanny. Actually, I have people who believe we had 2 live-in nannies who never had a live-in nanny. And those contain.
But see, that's the thing. That is how confidently Nick Rekieta can lie. Just straight up, without a second of hesitation, he will lie like that. And with that one, you can understand a bit of semantics where he's like, it was his mistress whore, wife swap. But he'll also say that he doesn't wife swap, he's not a swinger, and he doesn't have a mistress. So again, that's how easy it is for him to lie. But he'll say that she wasn't a live-in maid, but she was. Specifically April Imholte, the Aaron Steel Toe guy, his wife. She was a live-in maid, at least by technicality, but that's all that matters. If she was living there and I can imagine she wasn't actually doing any cleaning, that she was just doing drugs, but she was there. She was living there. And again, sometimes that's how Nick rationalizes it, where it's what is referred to as semantics, where you can take one single word of something and just misapply it and be like, therefore it's not true. And it's like, it doesn't matter, though, if she wasn't a maid, if she was living there, or it doesn't matter if she was living there, if she was a maid. Just whatever is going on, whatever your excuse is, doesn't matter. As fucking Ricky Roma said, your excuses are your own. Okay, clearly I have to go down there, but can I just jump down here? Can't imagine I'll live. Huh, I lived. That's good. I have my VR legs.
To put it
so
lightly,
that didn't even make me motion sick.
Those misstatements of fact not only have a legal impact on me, on my wife, on our nanny, they also have a social impact.
His nanny quit
because people make certain determinations and judgments.
He's referring to
people think certain.
He's referring to April as his nanny, and he's just trying to pretend that she doesn't live in. That can mean, again, he can use semantics to have that mean so many things, where it means that she lives in the guest house, not in there. She doesn't sleep in our bedroom, therefore she's not a living. That is how pathological liars rationalize things, is that they just take one little concept and then they change it and say, see, now the whole thing is a lie. They're all lying about me, when they're not, when all of the stuff is actually true. But yeah, she was a live-in maid. She was just incompetent, and he wasn't paying her. So it doesn't matter. It's not important. The way he's trying to rationalize this isn't important. What's important is, yes, he had some whore living with him. He did have a maid who maybe wasn't a live-in maid, but she quit over, Rekieta's. Okay, wait, establish. Okay. I'm trying to look
things
at this
about that situation, and the ability of the government to utilize these small misrepresentations is quite something, and it's fucking wildly damaging to your, I guess, your social status. I guess that's the word. I don't know.
You're really
how else
worried
to say
about
it. I don't like that
damage
phrase,
to your reputation.
But, I mean, people have drawn conclusions about
just don't do cocaine, Nick.
But that's based entirely on a bastardization of what actually transpired. And it was probably someone's shorthand notes. Probably wasn't nefarious, but you think they're mad about it?
Not as mad as you are, Nick.
Fair warning, they're not mad about it. But this is the way. This is the way it goes. And this is what I've been trying to kind of hint at for a little bit now. And now there's an opportunity because they've fucking done it.
Finally,
like
a good
it's right there in the open. I can point it out, and it contradicts their own documentation. See, that's kind of the trick with the saying that this substance was out in the open. That contradicts their own documentation about the event.
Again, that's another thing. he tries to pretend that one of the things that they lied, that Alyssa Clips Sweep lied about, is that the substance was out in the open. So that is Nick's way of saying, no, it was in a box in the living room, or it was in this container over in this other room. So that is Nick's way, that when Nick says that they lied, when Nick says Alicia Sweep lied, whatever, that's what he's referring to, is they claimed the cocaine was out in the open, and his response to that is, no, it wasn't out in the open, and therefore the entire case has to be dismissed. The same way he tried with the he tried to have the Frank's motion was to have the entire case dismissed because the footage of his stream where he was clearly on drugs was from somebody else's channel. It was from Cog, that Cog guy. In fact, that the Cog guy who the police song that I played earlier. It used to have It used to have Cog in it. He did a little guest verse, and I cut that out entirely because it's like he doesn't deserve that credit, and it's also it sucks. The song's great. I love the song, except for the part with Cog. I don't even hate Cog. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, he's a lol cow. And it's like, yeah, a lot of people say that about a lot of people who aren't. And I'm sure he is or something. I don't care. I don't give a shit. A lot of people are like, oh, Cog's poor. He lives in... It's like, I don't care. He lives in a trailer, so I don't give a shit. What is it that he said that was wrong or bad? That's the really all that I would care about. But the part with Cog in that song, it sucks. It's just not good. He's not a good rapper. And the lyrics are just... The lyrics are about like how he's a badass for paying somebody to beat up Ethan Ralph on the streets of fucking Portugal. So again, it's pretty stupid. Not really all that interesting. And so I just it's funny, I cut out his part of the song. Now the song's better, and more importantly, it's now my property. You make an edit to a song like that, it becomes your property. Completely copyright free. Maybe that's not true, but it's funny because it's like, well, it's just an extended sample now. But the song sort of can't be copyrighted anyways, or I mean, it should be. Because to be honest, I legitimately think that Doug Gunn to MC Jarbo, all of his songs, pretty much all of them are good. Even though, as many people did, he completely missed the boat with Rekieta. If he was on our level, he's good at making songs, but if he was on our level, he would have done one about making fun of Rekieta years ago. In fact, I made a meme thing, basically, of some gay picture of Rekieta, and it says, MC Jarbo hasn't done a song with you. He hasn't asked to do a song with you because he knows you're next, which that probably wasn't true. I just wanted to say it because I thought it was funny to say it. But the thing is, it was true, of course. Ultimately, it was completely validated and verified. What's going on with this? Oh, yeah. Get off my quest. Oh, can I solve the murder? I don't know. Here, let me play more of this while collecting these quests, I guess.
Their drafting.
I want to wrap up. I want to go to sleep.
Of the complaint and then the recitation of facts on the record are two different things, and they mean legally different things.
Wow, really?
That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying it's these little things that add up together. Those are the things that really start to that's how these prosecutions occur. That's how people end up under the thumb of government for significant amounts of times. And someday I can tell you the story, but in our Child Protective Services case is full of those. Absolutely full of those. When we found the sources of of some of the accusations.
You know what, by the way,
and we found out
this is a real derailing, but just real quick, I think it will permanently bear repeating that there was another thing that yellow umbrella guy lied about, is that he falsely accused us of calling CPS on him, and his evidence was us mocking CPS being called on him, apparently, which I still don't even think it was. How do I fucking... Here, I want to accept. I don't even know what happened. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. He's still trying to talk to me, but I do think that Umbrella Guy should have CPS called on him. I think it is absolutely justified. In fact, the only problem is I don't think they're going to do anything. They couldn't do anything. I think that I genuinely believe that he's abusing his children. I believe it's like a good solid 90% chance that he has molested his children, or had somebody else do it, or something else on the same level, on par with that. Okay, collect reward. All right, I'm collecting my reward. Yeah, okay. Collect reward. Shit, come on, game. Fucking A. Oh, there. I think that worked. How can a game screw up collecting rewards and cashing in quests, and yet somehow Borderlands 2 managed to do it? Anyways.
Not that.
Yeah.
The accusations were never actually accused, for example. Like they didn't actually make that accusation. Someone took
I don't care.
A precautionary statement. So I was looking for this, not that a thing occurred, but they were looking for this thing, and then they just determined that that thing had happened, but it never did.
Oh, no.
And the way that they conduct their investigations and the way that they communicate with you or don't communicate with you, as it were, it makes it so that you don't even get to figure out the nature of where these claims come from. So you don't get to combat them at all. And some of them are really stupid and don't matter. And other ones are really stupid and really fucking matter. But they will take these half-truths.
Moral
or they'll take a misread of a statement. And it just changes one word. Yeah. One word.
This is the same moral Necrocata that everyone was worshiping and throwing themselves to the ground in like tearful respect. Pure fedora, the most fedora tipping shit in existence was oh wait, here we go. Was the way people worship Necrocata. There was no justification for that. Oh, nice cam. Oh, here's the radio. Well then. Oh, okay. I plugged in a thing to it. Neat. Here.
The addition of live-in to nanny changes the entire
semantics.
Scope of the relationship with
No, it doesn't.
April or our former nanny.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And the thing is, you can tell Nick is desperately clinging to that because he's lost. That is how Nick has failed as a human being, and that's how he loses that's how he lost every argument against us, too. We beat him in every single argument the same way we beat everyone in a fucking everyone on everything. Fucking Comicsgate, Kiwi Farms, the fucking fake nerd YouTubers, all of that shit. They have lost every single argument against us because the way they argue is identical to the way Necrocata is arguing here.
Nanny Cheney. Either of them being a live-in nanny is a completely different thing than someone who does not live at our house.
It
someone
doesn't
who shows
erase
up early in
cocaine
the
from
morning
your daughter.
It helps get our kids to school.
This is how he's trying to fucking argue, is that this somehow makes it so that his daughter didn't have cocaine, so that he wasn't doing cocaine, so that he wasn't wife swapping, so all the shit that he did suddenly didn't happen. It has to be thrown out. He legitimately thinks he's on some kind of fucking Law and Order episode where everything he doesn't like has to be thrown out because somebody used a word that wasn't completely accurate. That somebody said that the cocaine was out in the open, and he's like, no, it wasn't. It was hidden. It was in my closet. It was in the bathroom behind the medicine cabinet. Therefore, you lied, and all of the charges have to be dropped against me. He legitimately thinks that. He wants reality to be that way. He wants things to be one way, but it's the other way.
Is different from someone who sleeps in the house. I don't know how else to describe that, but that was created by someone else. So it's I found this interesting for me. This is probably just my own, catharsis necessary for me, but
catharsis. I look a good
to
catharsis.
be able to demonstrate this thing that I've been talking about.
I'm thirsty for catharsis right now.
It's not a big grand conspiracy. There's not like some Barnes. I love Barnes, right? But he talks about like Nick's a champion. He's out there. He's the loudest guy in the county criticizing government. Of course they're going to come after him, right? Like I love that. It's great.
Huge slam on Barnes.
I don't know if Barnes is right on that. I don't dabble in that world. But
one thing that got pointed out apparently, and I didn't know this because I don't know who Barnes is and I don't give a shit. He's a lawyer though, and apparently he was the lawyer for Alex Jones on the lawsuit where Alex Jones was ordered to pay almost $1 billion. So, to show you how good of a lawyer Barnes is, but also Barnes was apparently at some point the lawyer for Kyle Rittenhouse, and Kyle fired him. So again, goes to show you. And Barnes is now supporting Nick Rekieta in this case. And Barnes is like the Barnes guy. I saw a clip of him recently where he was like, they're ruining, they're stepping on his Fourth Amendment rights or whatever the fuck. And like his civil rights and his constitutional rights are being denied. And it's like, yeah, Nick Rekieta's denied other people's constitutional rights himself too. So, if you're going to defend him for any of that, your beliefs are fake. So, Barnes, I don't consider to really be a real person. He doesn't have a soul. End of story. End of story. Get to your friends. I have friends? Wow. Let's go find out about them while listening to this.
That's like the grand conspiracy. It's targeted, it's focused, and it really puts me up on some kind of pedestal. And I'm like, I don't see myself that way. I'm just a jackass who fucking goes online and drinks
he's
and
humble too.
tells
That's
jokes
great.
and stories, and
that's so good.
Turned into really pissing a bunch of people off. Sorry, but I don't see myself that way. Like, that's the way that Barnes describes it. When I'm talking about like what happens to all sorts of people all the time, this is not unique to me in any capacity, but it's these little twists or misreads or mishears or a note is jotted down wrong, and then that becomes this insular game of telephone. And
how about just flat out lying, knowing you're lying, just straight up slandering people who have been deplatformed, only deplatformed for telling the truth. We were deplatformed for telling the truth, and your response was just to lie about us directly, and that's it. That is I completed. Wow, I completed a mission. I was for some reason waiting for that dumb bitch downstairs to talk. I guess I don't know. I was distracted.
Story that didn't happen occurs, and then the problem is you have someone who needs to figure out. They have to solve the story. They have to solve the story, and it gets associated with your case, and things get to be just a fucking mess. And it's all because you added the words "live in." For example,
don't do cocaine.
In this case, there's a whole bunch of this.
You did cocaine.
Our whole case is full of this shit. Someday there'll, I don't know. I'm gonna get one of those Vegas money hurricane machines. I'm gonna write down all the fucking fucked up facts that they have. Oh, I'm supposed to say that last. Messed up facts that they have on little pieces of paper, and it's gonna blow around. You're just gonna sit in there and grab them. That won't be any fun.
You by all means try to do that.
Going to jail. You can take me to jail. Take me to jail. Lock me up.
Lock me up. Go away the key. Go away the key. I ain't afraid to fuck somebody in his ass. Hey,
whoa. Huh?
This fool is tripping.
This fool is tripping. Wait, there's one more, isn't there? Well, it's not playing. Whatever, but I think that's that wraps up the episode. So, and I'm just gonna cash in. Good show. I was constantly wondering, is like, am I gonna even have anything to say? Am I just gonna sit there? I know if I say the same thing over and over again, hey, at least that's content. It all bears repeating because the truth always bears repeating. That is what one of my personal opinions. That's one of the only things I have an opinion about. All the rest are just facts. So yeah. Meanwhile, these fucking people are just having a whole boring conversation that I can't even hear. So once again, thanks to everyone who listens to these and supports us.
You come in here with balls.
And we're able to do all of our videos, including these.
Because of people like you!
Which, by the way, is quite, what's the word?
Weird.
That's right. Which is, of course, that is...
That's funny.
Yes. So funny, in fact, that...
I don't care.
Wow, I get to use all the soundboard things?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for helping us out, helping to pay the bills, and good job listening to Shitty Webcomics.